This is probably the least surprising headline you'll ever hear, but you'll never guess Donald Trump is getting negative press again. But this time it may actually be a little bit deserved. In the order of impartiality, I'll just describe the image for you. In brief, I'm sure you've seen it. Donald Trump is in this image. He's wearing a white robe with 2 red sashes down his shoulders, and he's standing in front of a bed with a man who looks sick, and he's putting his hands on him, looks like healing him. And he's got a glow emanating from both of his hands. He's surrounded by a group of admirers. There's light coming down from the clouds. It looks downright ecclesiastical. Most people are saying he looks like Jesus. And I tend to agree with them. That is absolutely what it looks like. Now, I've seen the counter-argument that some say, no, he's feuding with the Pope, and this is him dressed like the Pope. He's trying to supplant the papal role like he's done before. He's posted an image of himself as the Pope. But that's not even what Trump said he was doing. He says he's depicting himself as a doctor. It's a little odd to me. I mean, I get the healing aspect, but I've never, ever seen a doctor wearing white robes and red sashes. Let's be honest. I think the original image is intended to evoke Jesus Christ. It really is. And that is immensely problematic, right? That's pretty much blasphemous. Now, Trump, I'm not persuaded he's a believer. I'm not persuaded he is. And from what we've seen of his faith walk, if he is a believer, his walk is incredibly immature. Let's be honest about who Donald Trump is, because it's not a secret. This man has been a playboy his entire life. He's been obsessed with the dollar. He's a hostile, aggressive businessman. He certainly has his soft side. He certainly has his positives and his good character, and he's been great for our country, right? And he's shown respect towards Christianity, to be sure. He's aligned himself very closely with evangelical Christian beliefs and interests, and yet there's always this crassness to him, and there always has been. I don't think this is new. He came down the escalator in 2015. So it's been 11 years since he's dominated our politics. I feel like it's been so long, we really don't need to rehash this. But as Christians, no, we should not be putting up Trump as this paragon of virtue. He is not a man to emulate. He certainly has good qualities that are worth admiring, but for every good quality, he has some bad qualities. But here's the thing. We didn't hire him to be our pastor. We didn't hire him to be our moral guide. We hired him to be our president and to get the job done. When you're hiring a bodyguard, you don't look for a guy who knows all the answers in Sunday school. You look for a guy who's tough, right? And so that doesn't change the fact that I'm disappointed in what Trump has done. And I think him deleting the image is an admission of guilt in some sense. But in typical Trumpian fashion, we're obviously not going to get an apology. I'm a realist, so I don't expect that. Would I like it? Yes, it's just not going to happen. And so I think the response for a Christian in this time is to reject it and to push back and to challenge it, which I think a lot of believers did. And clearly the pushback worked to some degree because Trump deleted the message. I wouldn't rend your garments over this, though. Trump is a secular person. He has been a playboy his entire life. He's always been very crass. That doesn't make this okay, but it certainly means it's not mysterious, and we can stop clutching our pearls over it. We rebuked him. He deleted it. Take the win you're going to get, because he's not going to apologize. He's Donald Trump. The other thing Trump did in recent days that gave similar offense was he said, "Praise be to Allah" in his post of all days on Easter morning. And I got to hand it to him. That is quite the day to make that post. And some people were really upset by this. I am actually significantly less upset about that than I was about the AI image of him as Jesus. And here's why. It's very obvious that Twitter post was sarcastic and biting. It was meant to be an insult. It was meant to aggravate. I don't mind. We're at war with these people. Allah is not just a different God from a different religion that deserves equal respect with Christianity. It is a false religion held by our enemies. So I don't care. In fact, I do care. I'm pleased that Donald Trump is behaving in insulting manners towards them. It should sound very familiar, by the way, because Elijah did the exact same thing to the prophets of Baal. While they are busy cutting themselves and disgracing themselves, dancing around and gyrating in turns around their altar to Baal to try to prove that Baal's the true deity, Elijah's over there in the corner mocking them. Call louder. Maybe he's on vacation. Maybe he's relieving himself. Maybe he can't hear you. Surely he's about to answer. Just keep shouting. He's making fun of them. And nowhere is recorded that God was displeased by this. In fact, Immediately following that part of the story, God blesses his sacrifice by sending fire down from heaven to consume his offering and vindicate Elijah. So we actually do have scriptural precedent for mocking false gods. And I'm really pleased that our president feels comfortable doing this, because a lot of other presidents would insist on a conciliatory, secular, religiously neutral approach. Donald Trump recognizes that Allah, who's a false god and a demon if he even exists, is worthy of mocking, and Trump's not afraid to go there. And I'm pleased by that. It's very, very obvious that Trump is not being sincere. He's not offering his sincere praise to Allah. He's being sarcastic, and I think that's really, really obvious. Now, in contrast, this AI image that Donald Trump posted, while it's obviously fake, everybody knows that, it is, I believe, meant to be Donald Trump expressing sincerely how he views himself as a benevolent healer of the world. And he likely sees himself in how he perceives the narrative of Jesus, which he's not lying, he's being honest. That is how he sees himself. I don't think he probably realizes the magnitude of what that means to a Christian and how offensive it is. And so I'm glad that a lot of people have rebuked that, and as a result that he's taken it down.